And thank you to everybody for joining us at Democrats Live. This is the live stream video from the DNC headquarters in Washington, D.C. And today, I'm joined by my good friend Judy Chu of California.
Thank you.
And Andrea Jenkins, the newly minted Councilmember-elect from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Let's hear it for Andrea Jenkins, everybody. Andrea, you just made a little bit of history. You want to tell the folks about it?
Yeah, how are you today, Congressman Ellison?
Great.
You know, on December 19, 2016, I announced my candidacy for the 8th Ward City Council seat in South Minneapolis. And on November 7th, 2017, I was elected with 73% of the vote.
Pretty good, I'd say.
11% increase, and an 11% increase in voter turnout, which I am most proud of. And I was elected to be the newly incoming city council member of the 8th Ward.
Well,
so
you being elected,
I guess I'm calling it the first openly African-American transgender woman elected to a city council in the country. But
yeah. Well, Andrea, in a few days, the Transgender Day of Remembrance is coming up. And we will remember not just the tremendous achievements like your own and some friends of yours like Philippe Cunningham, Danica Rome. But we're also going to remember some tragedies that have happened just this year. We've seen a lot of transgender women of color, in particular, tragically killed. Could you put your achievement in some context, given the challenges of the transgender community?
Yeah, absolutely. So far this year, as of November, the 16th, 2017, there have been 25 trans-identified people, transgender and gender non-conforming people murdered in the United States. The majority of those are women of color, African-American women, Latino women, indigenous women. And so, you know, there has been a huge increase in visibility around transgender identified people in our society. And we've been here since the beginning of time of recorded history, but people are just beginning to become aware, you know, given some of the really high profile folks like Caitlyn Jenner and Laverne Cox and Janet Mock and so many other people who are really stepping forward and including myself and Philippe Cunningham. And so I think that that kind of visibility, coupled with all of the anti or the transphobic bills that are being proposed and legislated in so many states around the country and cities and municipalities, I think that confluence, you know, trans people, last year we could serve in the military, this year we can't serve in the military. It's on people's minds, and I think people are taking that that frustration, that violence, and it's wrapped up in a lot of other issues too, Keith. Around affordable housing, trans people are 3 times more likely to be homeless than the average person. Income, we only make $10,000 a year per trans family, which is well below the poverty line. And so these issues are serious. They are deeply intertwined with this horrific tax bill that got passed. And I am thrilled to be on the city council, even though this visibility is unfortunately creating some challenges for a lot of people. But if we can be at the table, setting the agenda, setting the policies, then, you know, and centering the most marginalized people in our communities, we can make change.
All right. Thank you. Let's hear it for Andrea. I think that's right. And Andrea, I just want to mention to you, I want to thank you for bringing up the tax bill, because we have a member of the Ways and Means Committee who's here with us, who's sat through those committee hearings. Judy, talk to us. Is there anything in this tax bill that's good, or what should the folks know about this thing that just went through?
It is unbelievable to what extent this bill gives a tax break, a windfall to corporations and billionaires and millionaires. In fact, it has a staggering reduction of the tax rate for corporations from 35% to 20%.
Wow.
And really, because of all the loopholes and deductions that corporations currently have, the effective rate that most corporations pay is 18.6% right now.
Wow.
So the Republicans reduce this tax rate, but they don't remove any of those deductions or loopholes.
So the effective tax rate will probably go down.
Exactly. Not only that, they reduce the tax on foreign income by about half. So can you imagine, you'd be paying 20% on your business here, but maybe 10% on the foreign income. What will that do to jobs here?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
They will be outsourcing like crazy. So that means that jobs will be disappearing from America.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, Andrea, you're about to be a municipal official in just a few days. From a city council perspective, how does the elimination of the state and local tax deduction impact a city like Minneapolis?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a huge influence on how we can raise funds to build our own communities, because effectively people's tax rates are going to go up if they don't have those deductions. And so, it's going to put extreme pressure on the city, on the county, on the state to even, and that's lost revenue for the cities and states. So the impact is going to be hard and heavy, and really put a depression on our ability to maintain and manage the city in productive ways.
That's right. Now, also, Judy, there are some other municipal impacts, like the activity bonds. That a lot of cities rely on that to build infrastructure and things like that.
Yeah, can you imagine eliminating the deduction for the private activity bonds? That is the way by which cities are able to build their infrastructure. Mm-hmm. So that is very critical. But there are other things too. How about the cap on mortgage interest?
Oh, yeah. Mortgage interest.
They're capping it at $500,000. But there are places around this country where the real estate is quite expensive. In fact, in Los Angeles, the average mortgage is $654,000. And in areas like the Silicon Valley, 75% of the homes are over $500,000.
Wow.
So it will really hurt the homeowners. I just can't believe what they are doing also to students and teachers.
Sure.
For students, they are eliminating the deduction on student interest loans. So can you imagine? You have calculated how much it would cost. You've planned carefully, and now they're pulling the rug from under you. How are you going to pay for that extra interest on the student loan? And they're doing even worse things to graduate students, because graduate students are allowed to deduct the tuition expense right now from the amount that they work, but now they would have to count that tuition deduction as income. So it'll increase the amount of taxes that they pay by about threefold.
Well, Andrea, this fight over American taxation is not over. No matter what happened in the House today, the Senate's going to get this thing. As a person who's been organizing in the community, what do you suggest people do to fight this thing and make sure that this Republican tax scam bill never gets passed into law? From an organizing standpoint.
From an organizing standpoint, I think we got to continue to do what we have been doing all year. When they tried to shut down Planned Parenthood, we showed up and said no. When they tried to take away our health care, we showed up and we said no. And now they're trying to raise these inane taxes to give this big giveaway. It's kind of like just rolling up to the garage in a Brinks truck and loading in all the money. And we must show up. We need to send postcards. We need to call our representatives. We need to send emails, calls, march, show up in the Capitol, at these town halls, at our representatives' office, and say, no, this is immoral, and we cannot let it happen.
Absolutely. So if that's right, that's right.
Yeah.
Now, let me just ask the both of you, like, heaven forbid they pass this thing into law, it's going to create a huge deficit, up to $1.5 trillion. And, what does that mean in terms of Medicaid, Medicare, Meals on Wheels, services that people need?
Yes, this will create a $1.5 trillion deficit. But actually, if you take all the interest, it's $2.3 trillion.
Yeah, they don't count interest in that number, do they?
They don't. And so that means that our children and grandchildren are going to be paying for this deficit. That means that down along the line, there'll be drastic budget cuts. And that it means drastic cuts to programs that we count on: Medicare, Medicaid, even Social Security, but in particular Medicare, because there is a cap that we have on the payments to Medicare, and this would trigger this cap, and therefore we would have to cut Medicare. And some are saying it could be as high as $25 billion.
What does a $25 million cut to Medicare mean to the folks of the 8th Ward, Councilmember Jenkins?
I think she said, $25 billion?
Billion, not million, billion.
Yeah, $25 billion. Yeah, I mean, that means access to health care is going to be diminished. This is a low-income immigrant community that absolutely relies on a historically African-American community that does have to have these sort of supports in order to make ends meet. And you know why? Because incomes have been depressed. We haven't seen a rise in the median income in over 10 years.
That's right.
So this tax bill is not going to solve a problem. In fact, it's going to exacerbate all of the problems and challenges we have now. I don't understand it. I don't know why we're talking about it. Most economists say that it's going to have no impact on creating a better economy, and in fact, it's probably going to be worse, much worse. And I know it's going to be painful for the residents here in the 8th Ward. We just got our tax statements from Hennepin County last year, and a 73-year-old woman I was talking to, actually 82-year-old woman, you probably know her, Representative, her name is Chlorine Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
She's saying her taxes are $5,000 next year.
Well, when you think about so her deduction for her medical expenses is going to be taken away.
Oh, my goodness.
So that's going to add to her woes even more. Right. And, she's kind of like the mother of the whole community. But let me just say, I really tell folks all the time that all of us do all of it. And what I mean by that is whether you are in the city council level as you are, state legislature, county level, or in the federal government like Judy and I, all of us work on tax stuff. We all work on veteran stuff. We all work on immigration stuff. We just work on different aspects of it. Mm-hmm. So we've got to be in touch.
Right.
So Judy and I are particularly grateful to you for running, for winning, and just want to encourage you to keep being the great leader that you are. You're already a national leader. You will continue to be one even more so. But we're looking at you as our ally at the municipal level to help fight for our folks. So any final thoughts you want to share before we wrap?
Absolutely. I want to say to you and Representative Chu that I am there. I will be there. We gotta elections matter, representation matters. We have to turn out in 2018 because when we elect Democrats, these kinds of issues don't happen. And so I'm going to be on the front lines. I'm going to be out knocking on doors next year, even now, talking to my neighbors, talking to people across the state to make sure we are electing the right people to office. And I hope that all of you can join me in doing that as well.
Hey, that's City Council Member-elect Andrea Jenkins. Thank you all very much. And Judy, you and I got to go. Absolutely. And you and I gonna head back to our home districts in a little while. What is your message when you get back home to LA?
Well, I'm telling them that this vote that took place today is just step one.
Right.
Because the Senate then votes on its version of the bill, and then there is a conference committee that occurs, and we have to vote on that. So it is important for them to raise their voices, and the latest twist in all this is that the Senate wants to do away with the individual mandate for the Affordable Care Act. That threatens our whole healthcare system.
That's right.
In fact, premiums would rise by 10%, and it could threaten the ability for people with pre-existing conditions to actually get their health care. So this is even worse than you could ever imagine. It affects students, teachers, homeowners, and people who are dealing with healthcare issues. So all of us needs to raise our voices. We need to contact our representatives, and we need to say that this is not fair. We need to stop this terrible tax bill. That's
right. Judy Chu, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Andrea Jenkins, thank you for joining us. Now, look, next time we'll see you on Democrats Live. This has been Congressman Keith Ellison on behalf of our chair and our officers and all the DNC members. Come back next time and watch Democrats Live. We'll see you. Take care, everybody.